because of Wallowa. He spent the rest of his life at Colville. When he died in 1904, the doctor listed the cause of death as a broken heart.
Mm, yeah, so this is a very common thing that happened with Native Americans during this time is um, they wanted the land, and so they sent. Here's a closer picture of, and it wasn't the thing is it wasn't just the Nimipu that were located here. Um, it was multiple tribes. I want to see the photo. Um, so it was multiple tribes, as you can see from here. Um, let's see, where this should be. Fort Leavensworth. Okay, so you guys can look at the extent of what happened here and who it all kind of included. So right here we have the Nez Perce Reservation, or we have Wallowa Lake was right around here, right? And a lot of them, I mean, they're supposed to go to La Poille Reservation up here, where it says the now Nez Perce Reservation. So what had happened in Montana, and actually this included a lot of Minnesota and North Dakota and South Dakota, as you see, a lot of the Midwest, they were marched down south, and actually you'll learn about it next year, to Fort Leavensworth. Mm-hmm. And these were prisoner camps, more or less, and mini reservations that a lot of Native Americans were forced to. Because it wasn't they wanted to shuffle around the Native Americans. They wanted the land. They didn't really care too much about their health and safety. So these marches were very rough. Remember, they took all the horses, so they didn't ride, stuff like that. They had to walk. And you guys imagine, I mean, I've driven to Iowa. Here's Minnesota right here, or Minneapolis. I've driven to Iowa. That's like 4 hours in the car. This is hundreds and thousands of miles, you guys, to Fort Leavensworth, and a lot of people died. We have, I think, what Iris read, malaria. Malaria is a mosquito-borne illness. So if you get bitten by the mosquito that has this bacteria, malaria, then you often die. And actually, it's a very, very common thing in places closer to the equator.
Like Africa.
Yep, Africa and South America and Central America. It's just something. It's just a very common thing that it has. Yeah, somebody had their hand raised. Was that you, Jacob?
Yeah, like in Africa, since there are so many malaria carrying mosquitoes, they like have to sleep with mosquito nets
Yes,
on them. They don't get malaria.
exactly. Because I mean, at night is when the mosquitoes mostly come out, right? And so, yeah, they have mosquito nets. Somebody else, did you raise your hand to make a comment? Okay. So this is Fort Leavensworth. So this is where they traveled down to. And you can see, I mean, they were just kind of all stuck together. You can see that there's teepees here. It wasn't just one tribe. Here is Chief Joseph again. So actually, since this is in Fort Leavensworth, well, I did write Nimipu. I wonder, it did say that he made it down there, right? So I wonder if that wasn't taken or painted by Fort Leavensworth. But yeah, think of these giant prisoner camps to where people were just kind of thrown together. Here's a baby in a papoose, all wrapped up. A cradle board is what they are, or like I said, a papoose. And if you see, they're stuck and squished together. And the disease spread through it really quickly. Here is back in La Poille. So afterwards, they traveled to La Poille, the reservation, the now Nimipu Reservation, so up here in Idaho. Okay, remember that map we saw at the very beginning of how small they get? And that's where a lot of people are today. And yeah, it's a Native American town because a lot of them were forced there now. Have people grown and adjusted? Yeah. Do people still want to remember their ancestry? Yep. Here we go. So here is kind of the Nez Perce Reservation. Also, La Poi is a city now in the reservation, so they have a larger area. Do you guys have any other questions on this afterwards or anything you noticed?
That it was probably the most tragic part of the story.
Yeah. So yeah, not even, you guys, the story was just the beginning. It was really just the beginning of everything that happened. Yeah, Bailey.
I had a wonder of what happened to the one-armed general. Like, did he get Wallowa or did he not?
Yeah, let's see if we can find that out. General Howard Nimipu. Because yeah, remember these people were based off of real people. Oh my goodness, is there a movie? Maybe. I don't know if that's a movie. We'll have to look. So here is Joseph, and that's General Howard.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does General Howard really only have one arm?
I'm assuming so. Let's look. Can we find things? General Oliver Otis Howard. Let's see. So his first name was Otis. Oh, is this a book or is this a movie? Oh no, it's a book. I was going, oh, it's a movie, but I think it's yeah, this is a book. I've got a Kindle. So this is our book, but they show General Howard and Chief Joseph. Let's see. We've got the Wallowa Reservation. We've got President Grant, who acknowledged that you can start taking land. We've got General Oliver Howard, gave a 30-day ultimatum. Word of the attack quickly spread to Fort La Poi and General Howard. General Howard, with no contact or direct knowledge of the situation, sent out 103 men from Fort La Poi. His goal was to put the end to the killings and provide safety for the white settlers by silencing the Indians. So, it talks about some of those battles. Battle of Canyon Creek or Bear Paw Battle. Yeah, we talked about it. We saw it in our story. Let's see. Does it say anymore? Oh, we're going to talk about Chief Joseph's they call it a Lincoln speech. So he gave a big speech that's actually pretty famous. We're going to actually explore that more later on. Let's see. Okay, how can I find? Okay, General Howard. Actually, we'll just go Howard. All right, let's see. So the Nez Perce, including the Wallowa Band, surrendered to General Howard. I'm using Wikipedia, so it's not the best source, but it probably has a lot. Finally surrendered with the Nez Perce, with the speech. Let's see. Oh, we learned about General Howard humiliated the Nez Perce by jailing their leader Tahulahul Sote. Remember how he jailed them and didn't give them food and water? And they got a prisoner and they fed him. They treated him really well. It doesn't really say too much about what happened afterwards with General Howard. Joseph's speech was translated by the interpreter Arthur Chapman and was transcribed by his aide. Let's see. During the surrender negotiations, Howard and Miles promised Joseph and the Nez Perce that they'd be allowed to return to their place in Iowa. Well, we know that didn't happen. So yeah, I guess it doesn't really say what happens more after General Howard. It looks like there's another book we could read about Here Be My Chiefs, okay, that talks about General Howard. But yeah, I'm not seeing much more. Oh, he lost his right arm while leading his men against the Confederate forces at the Battle of Fair Oaks, Seven Pines in June 1862, an action which later earned him the Medal of Honor. Ooh, so he was considered kind of a war hero. So yeah, he apparently did have did lose his arm. Nora found that. So, ooh, that's pretty good. So yeah, so he did actually lose his arm. He was kind of a war hero. Yeah. General Howard Otis.
So General One Armed?
Yep, he had one arm. He lost his right arm. Yeah, this is where Nora found it. While leading his men against the Confederate forces at the Battle of Fair Oaks. He was known as the Christian general because he tried to base his policy decisions based off of his religions. And that was a very common thing, ladies and gentlemen, during this time is they, when the native or white folks ended up settling in, a lot of them, we had missionaries that tried to convert the Native Americans, or even in Minnesota, if you've heard of the University of Minnesota Morris, that was a boarding school for Native Americans. So they took Native Americans from back home, the children, and then put them in school, and then they taught them Christianity. It was just something that was very commonly done. So yeah, so there is a thing on Chief Joseph. So yeah, it looks like he attended school. He married Elizabeth Ann Waite and had 7 children. Okay, so yeah, there's a little bit about Chief Joseph, or not Chief Joseph, the general. Any other questions or anything? I know I put it on private because we had some people that were using it inappropriately, so I can put it back on public if anybody has any other ideas or questions. But yeah, the biggest thing that people ended up dying from is sickness. You heard medicine was virtually non-existent. Almost every baby born was probably died during that time. And that's because they were forced to walk, and you don't have a lot. If you have band, I will post the video, the vocabulary video to watch later, and then do the text questions, okay? Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye. Yeah, because I know a bunch of you haven't. And we're just going to finish watching the video, and you can do the text questions. So everybody else, why don't we open up our journal, vocabulary journal, and you can do a split screen. I will pause the video when it comes to some of our words, and we are going to watch this quick video on some of these things. Here you go.
Hello, 5th graders. Welcome to Wit and Wisdom in Sync. This is vocabulary for grade 5, module 1, focusing question arc 5. I'm Ms. Woodard. I'm one of your Great Minds teachers, and I'm excited to learn with you today. Let's get started. We will learn 5 new words that will help support your reading and writing and speaking and listening in this module. Our 5 words are warrior, surrender, grieve, truce, and betray.
Okay, so I'm going to, just because we have the opportunity to, I'm going to just write those words down here. That way I can.
We already did warrior and
We've
surrender.
done warrior and surrender.
Perfect. Then you don't have to write them. Isn't that nice?
Awesome.
So yeah, we got surrender. Oh, I don't have warrior, so I will have to add warrior to mine. But so then the next page, let's put in grieve. Grieve. Truce. And betray. Okay. So grieve, truce, betray.
Look on the first page, you can see, on the second page, you can see warrior.
Okay. Oh,
And
okay.
truce.
Oh, okay. So
There's warrior and truce.
So yeah, so make sure you get the ones that you didn't have, because yeah, I think we might have reviewed some of these because I think they were part of an ending section, and she's just going to go with them in detail.
Very juicy words.
Because they're really important to this part of the section.
Let's dig in. Our first word is warrior, and warrior is a noun meaning someone who fights like a soldier. I'll say the word and then you repeat it back.
So repeat it.
Warrior.
Warrior.
Good. Now let's listen to the word and its definition in Spanish.
El guerrero, la guerrera.
Okay, repeat it. El guerrero, la guerrera. Okay, I want you to also repeat it. So, alguien que lucha como un soldado.
Es un sustantivo. Significa alguien que lucha como un soldado.
The image at the top captures a warrior with a bow and arrow. Maybe this warrior is defending his homeland. Perhaps he's a member of the Nez Perce tribe. Our next word is surrender. Surrender is a verb meaning to give up, to give in to another's power or demands. I'll say the word and then you give it a try.
Okay, repeat it.
Surrender.
Surrender.
Good. Now let's listen to the word and its definition in Spanish.
And I want you to repeat the word in Spanish too.
Rendirse.
Rendirse es un verbo.
Es un verbo. Significa darse por vencido o ceder frente al poder o exigencias de otro.
In the image at the top of the slide, we see a person with his hands thrown up and a white flag, and that's a symbol of surrender. So this person is surrendering, perhaps after a conflict. Let's take a look at these two words in context. Follow
Okay, so we have these words written down, right?
along as I read these sentences aloud.
Oops.
Looking Glass and the other warriors did not want to surrender to the white soldiers. They wanted to continue fighting. Our next word is grieve. Grieve is a verb meaning to feel sadness from a loss or a death. I'll say the word and then you give it a try. Grieve.
Grieve.
Good. Now let's listen to this word and its definition in Spanish.
Llorar.
Llorar es un verbo.
Es un verbo. Significa sentir dolor por una pérdida o muerte.
Isn't your cry?
It is, but if you look, it is the exact same word. In Spanish, some of our words are not exactly the same. So instead of saying grieved, okay, like we have the specific word in Spanish or in English, we're going to use llorar, which means, yeah, kind of like, when you cry, you're going to feel that sadness. Does that make sense? So yeah, we're going to have some words, as you know, that may not have direct translations in Spanish. And that's just how Spanish and different languages work. So let's write our meaning here. To feel sadness from a loss or death. But yeah, that's a good catch. Llorar. Yep. And I hope you're practicing pronouncing these as well. So I've got grieve.
So would cry be a synonym?
It would be. Yes. So let's put in, here we've got crying. Ooh, and you know what? That's a lot of times when I can't think of the word in Spanish, I think of a synonym for the English word, and oftentimes I know that synonym in Spanish, and usually that's the word. So for example, like graceful. Oh, what's another word for graceful? Well, elegant. Ooh, the word is elegante. So you're not going to have a word graceful directly in Spanish. You're going to say elegante. Mhm. Same with grieve. It means crying. So llorar. Mhm. O tristeza. Mhm. Sadness. So that is a very, very good thing to kind of connect when you're thinking of Spanish words. Okay.
We see a sad face at the top of the slide, perhaps with a tear coming out of one eye. So it's possible that this face is grieving or showing some sadness after some sort of loss. Let's look at this word in context. Follow along as I read aloud the sentence on the slide. During the war with the white soldiers, the Nez Perce people grieved the loss of many members of their tribe. Our next word is truce. Truce is a noun meaning an agreement to end a conflict, usually a war. Say the word and then you give it a try. Truce.
Truce.
Good. Now let's listen to this word and its definition in Spanish.
La tregua.
La
Es un
tregua. La tregua. Did you pronounce it?
sustantivo. Significa
Yes, Riley.
Ours says, mine at least, my truce says, an ending of an armed conflict by mutual agreement of warning parties.
Perfect. That actually is the same thing. Yep, it's just said in a
un
different way.
acuerdo para poner fin a un conflicto, usualmente una guerra.
Okay. So if you have the one from previously, those both are the correct definition. They're just kind of summarized differently. So I'm going to write this here because I didn't have it. An agreement to end a conflict. What did you have?
Miss Wersinger, you gave me yours and you had it on yours.
Did I?
When you gave it to me. It's on the first page, I think.
Oh, it is.
Oh yeah, you did.
Oh, so some of them are repeating. You know what? That's perfect. Yeah. And I'm going to write it again just because it's here. You do not, if you already have it, you do not have to write it again. But just kind
A synonym.
What's a synonym?
A peaceful agreement.
An agreement. And you guys, even if you look in Spanish, we have an agreement. Okay. Usually around war. So sometimes, some of those synonyms, you can find them in Spanish too.
At the top of the slide, we see an image of two groups of people, and they've each sent one person to come to the middle from their group and shake hands. So they're probably making a truce, some sort of agreement to end some sort of conflict between these two groups. Our next word is betray. Betray is a verb meaning to mislead or fail to fulfill a promise. I'll say the word and then you give it a try. Betray.
Betray.
Yes. Now let's listen to the word and its definition in Spanish.
Traicionar.
Traicionar.
Es un verbo. Significa engañar o faltar a una promesa.
Okay, so, this is a pretty deep word. To mislead or fail to fulfill a promise. Ooh. What is the word mentir in Spanish?
Mentir
Yeah.
is like I know it, but I can't think of the word.
Lying.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know what the word engañar is? in Spanish? So engañar means to trick. O los trucos. So engañar are tricks or that misleading. And so, you guys, I just looked at the Spanish definition and I got some synonyms because, yeah, engañar means to trick. Man, I like that they put the Spanish here.
At the top of the slide, we see two people with a broken heart between them. So it's possible that one of these people betrayed the other. So there was some sort of rift or conflict between them. Now let's practice with a rich question. I want you to discuss your answer to this question with someone nearby. So I'll read aloud this question and the sentence frames, and then I want you to pause the video and discuss your answer using the sentence frames. Do you predict the white soldiers will honor or betray the truce with the Nez Perce? Why? I predict the white soldiers will blank because blank. Pause the video, have a rich discussion, and come back and see me.
Harper, you raised your hand. What do you think?
I have to go for band.
Okay, I have you written down. So I will have this video to finish and then just finish the text questions, okay?
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Does anybody?
Bye.
Yeah, just those that are leaving for band. So does anybody have something to? What do you think? What do you think you could use to fill this in?
I predict the white soldiers will betray the truce with the Nez Perce because they have before.
I predict the white soldiers will betray the Nez Perce because also what I said they have before, and because they are not to be trusted because they have killed and they have wounded the Nez Perce when they did nothing.
Okay. Does anybody else have a prediction? I mean, we kind of do know what happens, but Ellie?
I will predict that the white soldiers will betray because they already broke a truce.
Very good. Anybody else? Yeah, Nora.
I kind of had the same as like Ellie and Riley and Iris. Like I predict the white soldiers will betray the truce because they have before and they're not trustworthy.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, great job, you guys.
Let's do one final practice to see if you remember the words and their definitions. Which word means to give up, to give in to another's power or demands?
Okay, tell me in the chat. A, warrior.
A, warrior. B, surrender. C, grieve. D, truce.
Tell me in the chat. What is that word? Ooh.
Did you say B, surrender? If you did, nice job. Which word means an agreement to end a conflict? A, warrior. B, surrender. C, grieve. D, truce.
Good job.
Did you say D, truce? If you did, very nice job. Thank you for learning with me today, fifth graders. I can't wait to hear how you read and write using these words. I hope you take them and make them your own. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like these videos with the vocabulary because they explain the Spanish. And like I said, there's a lot of times when I can't think of the word in English, even, I'll think of the word in Spanish, and a lot of times that gives me a synonym of what it will be, or vice versa. If I can't think of the word in Spanish, I think of the word in English and a synonym, and oftentimes that is it. So like grieve. Oh, how would I say grieve in Spanish? Oh, well, you're crying. Oh, llorar. And that's the actual word. So the last thing you have to do today, and then we are pretty much done. So I'll actually allow you to leave to work on it, is I want you to work on the lesson 25 text questions. And there are, I'll show you really quick. there are 3 questions. So I want you to tell me in complete sentences so a little bit of what happens with sound. So this is chapter 20 through 22. So what happens with sound of running feet? Talk about how alighting dove, because we reviewed this yesterday. So that's why I wanted you to kind of think a little bit more in detail. Okay. So this is what you can work with, and I will see you on Thursday. So we'll talk later.
Bye. I hope you have